More than 70 million Americans voted for President Trump, and many of his supporters believe he has been treated unfairly by the media for the past 4 years. And now in 2020, between election changes made in the name of COVID, allegations of impropriety in certain states, big tech bias, and an impeachment trial, Republicans believe the deck was stacked against them. What is the proper response when you believe you are being treated unfairly? The word impeachment. I think the argument Republicans had last time was we're on the precipice of an election. So let's let the voters decide. Why is that not also the better argument? They're not going to get him out of office in the next 2 weeks, so why not let the primary and the general election voters decide in 2024, Mark? Why go forward with impeachment?
Well, first of all, I'm not sure we should go forward with impeachment. My argument is that the president did commit a high crime and misdemeanor, unlike the last time. Look, I defended him on Russia. I defended him during the last impeachment trial, said that what he did was wrong, but it wasn't an impeachable offense. Inciting a riot, telling people, and this is a quote, that we've got to get rid of the weak Congress people, telling them to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue and take back our country. And then a riot ensues in which people, for the first time, did something which even the British did. It's not done since the British in the War of 1812. It stormed the Capitol, stormed the House and Senate chambers, tried to disrupt and threaten congressmen. It put in danger the first and second people in line to the presidency, the Speaker and the Vice President. I think that's unquestionably a high crime and misdemeanor.
But Mark, you said, let me quote you.
Sorry?
I was going to ask him if she thought the language quoted was enough. Look, I used to be a prosecutor. I don't think I could win that case, but it doesn't have to be a crime.
Right.
Kim, is that enough to impeach and convict someone?
Right, that's my point, is, impeachment should be reserved for the highest and most clearest of cases. And this just isn't clear. It's not clear cut, okay? In fact, you go and you look at the language he used he said you're going to go over the Capitol and peacefully demonstrate, okay? He used that word. So yeah, I think even the great Trey Gowdy could have difficulty in a court of law winning that case. Now, look, one of the problems, though, is that, and the other reason I really am opposed to this is because we already had an example of Democrats watering down the impeachment process. And some of us warned, this is what's going to happen. You do it once, and then you're going to have a knee-jerk reaction. We cannot go forward impeaching every president we dislike over political arguments. And so, this would be another super bad precedent.
I would say that I want to go back and when you go back in history, the great Ronald Reagan, when I was a student, said of the Berkeley riots, if we're going to have a bloodbath, let's get it over with. Meaning, let's just kill them. And when we had the Hearst giveaway over Patty Hearst, and the Black Panthers were to get free food from the Hearst family, the good Ronald Reagan said, "I hope there's botulism there," meaning I hope they die of botulism. And Barack Obama, when he was a candidate, said, not just get in their face, but you take a gun to a knife fight. So there's been a lot of bad rhetoric, but it's not criminal. It's stupid. And it was stupid, I think, and you can argue that it was reckless. I think it was reckless, but I don't think he intended to do that. But the point is that it's very dangerous in history to ruin the institutions that you may, in extremists, come to rely on. And what the Democrats did the last 4 years is they redefined impeachment as a vote of no confidence. They took a special counsel and they've empowered that, institutionalized that office, and it is an office now. I think we're going to see some very strange things in 2021 where the left is going to want the very bulwark and defenses that they destroyed because they said that Donald Trump was a special case. He may have been, but they tore down their own house, and I think they're going to rue it.
Charlie, you're a writer. I assume you chose that line of work because you enjoy words. What's the difference between a resistance and a revolution? And is the line simply a criminal line, or is there some other line that demarcates the two?
Yeah, it's sort of, after Wednesday, it's kind of hard to see the difference between the two. And that's why what happened on Wednesday is so terrible, is because it cedes the moral ground that I think conservatives, law and order conservatives, the people that truly support the Trump agenda, what they believe. And And I do take heart that so many Trump supporters have been vocal in their condemnation of what they saw. And I also think it's very important to remember, just as we sort of twisted ourselves into pretzels this summer to separate the lawful protesters this summer from the people that were committing the riots and burning the church and committing all the mayhem. We tried to separate them from people who had actual grievances and were trying to exercise their First Amendment rights. And of course, they were some of the biggest victims of all of the mayhem this summer, just like Trump supporters are among the biggest victims of what happened on Wednesday at the Capitol. But I also think the other thing that is kind of an important thing to remember about Trump is that, everything that we're sitting here talking about is we're talking about his style. We're talking about his language. And he's not a politician. And that's both something that a lot of people like about him. It's also sort of maybe a flawed aspect of his character as a politician. But when he is to blame partly for the fact that we are focused so much on all that stuff. But when you remove all of that stuff and you get down to the stuff that he was talking about that so many politicians had forgotten about and hadn't had any interest in the problems that they didn't have any interest in fixing, going back 20, 30 years, I think that Trump was talking about issues that are 60, 70, 80% winners among people. They're winners among Democrat voters. And
We'll come
that's
back
where
to
I
that,
hope sort of
Charlie.
we go in the future.